That's ISO? Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the reef.
I'm so in love with this intro, man.
Hello, movie lovers. Welcome back to another episode of the Keeping It Real podcast featuring myself, Mateo, Lucio, and my mother, Julia Lucio.
Hey.
How was your week this week?
Oh my God, it's been so hectic. I was telling you before, you're going to have to remind me what we saw this week because I've been so busy packing for Panama just like it's a blur, sir.
So, guys, we are going to be in Panama next week, so I don't think we're going to have an episode live from Panama, mainly because that sounds crazy. I don't know if we're going to see movies
while we're
in
there.
Panama. Yeah.
Well, so, they have an internet connection, so who knows? We might be Netflixing some stuff.
Yeah. So sadly, the February 14th movies, I know a few came out yesterday. Like the Bob Marley movie. A few of those we're gonna have to wait until we get back from vacation to see.
Yeah.
But we saw a few movies this week. A few 2023 movies that had some award love. Anatomy of a Fall, Dream Scenario. We're going to talk about those a little later. We also saw one of the earlier movies, came out in January, one of the earliest releases of the year, Night Swim, which our views on Night Swim are very conflicting to the general public's views. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And you saw another 2024 movie, and I saw another one. So we're going to have quite a few movies to talk about this week.
Sounds good. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with Anatomy of a Fall. The second last Best Picture nominee. We still haven't watched The Zone of Interest because we're terrible procrastinators, but so Anatomy of a Fall. This is a French film. It's partially in French, partially in English. The synopsis of it is: a woman is suspected of her husband's murder and their blind son faces a moral dilemma as the sole witness. So this movie is it's a courtroom drama. It got nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars and it was pretty good, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very interesting script. The whole scenario was really good. It's like a court drama. So I always enjoy those. They're always, I love seeing lawyers in action and trying to, it's all about semantics, right? And I think this movie does a phenomenal job at explaining that it really doesn't matter if you're guilty or not. It just matters if you're able to prove it or not.
It cements that's kind of the message right away when early on the lawyer's talking to the woman who's accused of the murder, and she says, "I'm not guilty." And he's like, "That doesn't matter. It looks like you're guilty. What matters is being able to prove that you're not. I think you're guilty. We have to prove that you're not."
Right.
Okay, so before we continue, I think we're probably gonna rush on spoilers here. So if you haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall and you want to,
and you don't want spoilers,
maybe just tune out for the next 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I guess we can build up before saying what the verdict was. So the main premise of the movie is this lady's husband in their house in rural France, I think. He's doing housework upstairs and he falls out of a window. And there's a lot of factors that make it iffy as to what happened. And if it was his wife who did it, or if it was a suicide or an accident, we don't really know.
And we still don't know. You watch the movie, you're still gonna not know at the end, which is genius, by the way, because it drives the point across that it really doesn't matter.
I was telling you as we were watching it, I really like that we know nothing more than the jury knows. So going into this whole court case, we're as in the dark as the jury, and you're almost watching from the perspective of
A
someone in the
juror,
stands watching the trial, forming the
right?
opinion for yourself.
Right.
But the performances were really good, I think. I really like Sandra Huller, I don't know how to pronounce it, as the lead role, playing a character also named Sandra. I think she does a really good job, especially in certain scenes like the argument, like when it cuts to the argument, which is evidence. It's like a recording of an argument and it's used as evidence in the case. That argument between her and her husband, it just seemed so authentic. For someone like myself who was afraid of confrontation in the past, it made me a little uneasy because it just seemed so real and raw.
It does. It does. They both do a fantastic job. Him as the husband who's kind of like, disillusioned by his entire life, his entire, like you clearly see that he's not where he wants to be, and he blames her for it, like absolutely. um the music, like the music that he plays, the choice of songs, the choice of loud, volume at which he's
They
putting a
even
message.
said
It's like a
Uh,
message, right?
they even said at one point about the song that was playing at the beginning that it was like very misogynistic in nature. So there's another layer there where he's playing it probably just to make her mad.
and
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 this is in
and
the
he plays it at first like loud, but then he plays it a second time louder, and then the third time louder, like, it's increasing with his
and
frustration.
these are
So
in the hours leading up to his mysterious death. So it makes her look really bad.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I guess the plot all culminates in this long court case. They're about on a Friday, they're about to reach the verdict. They're about to let the jury reach their verdict. And then her son, who is pretty much the sole witness of the crime, he discovered the body, says, I want to testify. And he tells in his testimony, which happens like the week after the weekend, right?
the Monday after the
Um,
weekend, yeah.
he tells a story about being in the car with his dad. And his dad says, you know, okay, I feel like we haven't even mentioned this yet. The kid is blind. This is big for the story. He was
Yeah,
blinded because of an
partially blind.
accident that his father was responsible for. So there's trauma there. And his father says about his guide dog, one day Snoop is going to pass away and you're going to have to be able to
You have to
take
be
care of
ready.
yourself. And the son says, in this moment, I realized that he was actually talking about himself. And he basically hypothesizes that his dad killed
Committed
himself and
suicide. Yeah.
he was making his son ready for that. And the prosecutor's like, probably rightfully so, he's like, okay guys, don't let this subjective story cloud the verdict you come to. But I don't know if it does. I don't know if the other evidence was compelling enough. Last spoiler, I guess, she was found innocent. And
So let me ask you this: if you would have been a juror, what would you have leaning towards?
based on what we saw in the movie, I think I would have said innocent because I don't know how it is in France. I don't know who the burden of proof is on.
Uh huh.
But like a lot of the time, the prosecution was like, okay, prove that she didn't do it. When I feel like
You
it
have to
should be
prove
that
that
you
you
have to
did
prove
it,
that someone did do it.
right?
I remember one point specifically, he was like, so you're saying that it's not impossible that she did it? And the lady's like, yeah, but it's highly improbable. But the prosecutor's like, but not impossible.
Yeah, but it's not impossible. But that's not what you're trying to prove. You have to prove with,
Like in
beyond a
Canada and
reasonable
America,
doubt.
it's beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
And
and I don't think the evidence was doing that.
I think she might have done it. I towards the end I'm leaning that she didn't. It's
Yeah,
possible, but like I would not
I
have
I I think he
said
jumped.
guilty.
I
I
think he
think so too.
jumped.
I think so too.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, it
But
was an interesting movie. Very very well done. It was like a very psychological kind of movie that you really have to, get your mind
I
into it.
do
And
want to get into a little, like a few criticisms, and it's mainly just in like I do feel like the courtroom was played up to be a little more like rowdy and like like a sarcastic back and forth than
but then
maybe it
again, you're not
actually
French. You
is.
don't know how it is in France. It
Yeah,
might be
maybe
yeah.
maybe that is how it is in France. But that's like my one criticism. And then other than the angle of like we don't really know, it's more about like theatrics than proving that they're actually
Yeah.
innocent. Other than that, I don't think there's much like originality in the courtroom genre, in the
Uh-huh.
courtroom drama genre. Like it doesn't do anything super unique with it.
Innovative,
So
right?
it's like a really good courtroom drama, but it's not innovative. So
Yeah.
that's what's preventing it from being like one of my favorite movies of the year. It's still really good.
Yeah, I think it was very, very good. I think I gave it a 3.5 star, did I? Or 4? I
It
can't
says here you
remember
gave it
now.
a 4, and I gave
I
it a 4
4.
too.
Okay, yeah, I gave it a 4. So yeah, it was very good. It was definitely a must see. Very different than any other movies that we've seen in 2023, and deserving of
Yeah,
the
I don't
nominations for
know
sure.
if I would have it in my top 10, but it's in that range. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, it doesn't deserve
Hmm.
the nomination."
But
It's on that level.
if you like courtroom dramas, I don't think you've seen it yet, but you've got to see A Few Good Men, dude. Like classic Nicholas. What's his name? Oh my God, I'm losing my mind here.
A Few Good Men.
Oh, not Nicholas. Yeah,
Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson.
Okay,
Nicholson.
I have the cast
Jack
here. Tom
Nicholson.
Cruise?
Tom Cruise.
Wait,
Epic. Like,
we did watch this.
did you watch it?
Like a long time ago, like 2020,
Oh,
twenty
like
twenty one,
epic,
probably.
epic courtroom scene. Like, you want the truth. You can't handle the truth. That is like
Yeah,
a
I
classic.
like very vaguely remember it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very
It's
good. And of course, 12
okay, I
Angry Men
haven't
is
read the
just
premise just based on seeing the cast and the poster. It's like the
it's a
premise is like yeah, it's military, right?
military
And
court martial. Yeah.
he
So
like does he kill someone or like
he actually orders a beating on this soldier because the soldier is too weak or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but something like the soldier is too weak, so he orders a beating on him, and the troops just follow the order. um and some of the troops are like, debating that it should not have been followed. And I think one of them decides not to follow. I can't remember, like it's been so long since I've seen it, but it's something about like, this big general gave an order, and you got to follow the order if you're in the military, and there's no following that order. You've got to do it. And then it just introduces like the debate of the morality of it, following blindly following orders. Is that morally right or not? Should you be questioning, like in a
yeah.
military? Like it's just very interesting.
Now my favorite courtroom drama of all time is 12 Angry Men, the 1990s one. I haven't seen the 1957 one, but it is genuinely apparently one of the best movies ever. And I know the runtime of the 1957 one is super short, so I just got to watch it at some point.
Yeah.
It's not that short. It's I don't know
Again,
where I heard that, but
in one of the episodes, past episodes that we've done, we were talking about this concept of one room, for the entire movie. And 12 Angry Men is just that, right? It's in the same setting for the whole time, and
it's
you're
a
just
difficult thing to
watching.
do.
It is, and they nail it. Like 12 Angry Men for sure.
I
Must
feel
see.
like the courtroom drama genre does that more. Like Anatomy of a Fall, there was definitely different settings, but a good chunk, like I'm talking over 50% of a movie being in one spot. That
Hmm.
kind of qualifies for what we're talking about. It's obviously even harder when it's entirely in one room, like 12 Angry Men was.
But hey, Anatomy of a Fall is like 50-50 in two locations, really, when you
Yeah.
think of it. It's the house and the courtroom. That's pretty
I'm
much
trying to
it.
look at other movies. I have my 2023 list here, and there's not many movies that take
The
place.
Circle. We had talked about The Circle because that's what happens in The Circle.
It
The
was
people
very
are all
cheesy,
in.
but
Yeah, but everybody is in the same room for forever, and they did that well. I found. I
yeah,
thought.
there's really nothing else here where they're.
Hmm.
There's some horror movies where I guess they kind of are like not at the cabin, they're at the cabin for most of it, but I don't know, it feels different.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for Anatomy of a Fall. If you've seen it, let us know in the comments. If you liked it, even more so, let us know in the comments.
And okay, let's talk about the other 2023 movie we saw. I know it's a little more conflicted, so it didn't get as much award love. I think in a universe where some things were tweaked about it, it would have. And that is Dream Scenario, starring Nicolas Cage
Oh,
as
yes.
a man who just starts showing up in people's dreams with no explanation. At first, he's doing nothing. And then it turns kind of into like a satirical horror movie because he starts like attacking people and killing them in their dreams. And it becomes like a commentary on cancel culture almost because these people are like, hey, screw this guy. They don't let him go to his daughter's like play at her school because they're all scared of him. And like, here's my main issue with it. I still found it really good. I'm actually gonna knock 1 star from it. I gave it a 4, changing it to 3.5 right now.
I think I
It
gave
was
3.5.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good in the first half when it was taking itself less seriously. Somewhere towards the second half, it tries to make like a big grand commentary on cancel culture, and I don't necessarily think it all lands. It's not awful, like there's definitely worse takes you can have about cancel culture than what was presented in this movie. But the movie was at its best when it was like a comedy for the most part, and I
So,
feel like
so
it kind of stopped doing that towards the second half.
so here's the thing, the script had so much potential for this thing. If only it had decided if it wanted to be a comedy or a drama. You can't be both. And it was doing, like you said, it was doing fantastic at being a comedy at the beginning, and if it had continued in that line, I think it would have been a really good hit. But because it takes a turn and then it starts wanting to be a drama, like, it lost the potential,
I
and
don't even
it was very disappointing
I
to
don't
me.
even think the general bones of the plot and the script necessarily have to change to make this a good comedy all the way throughout. I just think play up how funny the concept is of this guy
Yeah,
being canceled and ridiculed and like exiled from society because he's in
yeah.
people's dreams, rather than making it a thing of like, oh, it feels so bad for him. This is just a bad situation. Like
There's one
you
thing
can
I
still
want to
keep
point
that
out.
and
No, go ahead. You can still keep
I was
that.
I was
And
pretty much done.
there's one thing I want to point out, because what I found interesting is that the turning point was when he meets with this girl and he's enacting her dream. And it's almost as though he made it, because he acted upon the dream, he made it that the people are started seeing him as a villain in the dreams as opposed to as a funny guy who was just there doing
Do
nothing.
you think that though? Because I feel like he wasn't doing nothing in her dream. So there could have been something before that. Like her dream was about having a sexual encounter with him. And
Maybe.
that's not doing nothing. So I think it might have happened before that. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking that maybe she was making it up. I
Um
don't know. I
there's
just
even in the second half, there's still funny parts. I don't even know how much they're trying to be funny, but whenever was it was it Michael Cera's character? I don't remember if it was him or someone else. Someone was telling this guy to go on the Joe Rogan podcast or Tucker Carlson, and that was hilarious. That had
yeah,
me
we can
dying
get you
laughing.
on Tucker Carlson at this point.
Yeah, that is kind of a good commentary where it's like I remember BoJack Horseman I remember BoJack Horseman pushing a similar commentary of after BoJack gets canceled, it makes him more self-destructive because the only people that will associate with you after getting canceled is the worst people possible, like Tucker Carlson and shit. So like it's people who are canceling other people are opting more for punishment than rehabilitation because hanging out with Tucker Carlson is not going to rehabilitate this guy.
No,
But
definitely
this
not.
one has another layer where he didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't. It's just like he's literally in people's dreams. Like he can't help it. It's not something he did. It's something that he did in dreams.
The only morally ambiguous thing he did was like just kind
Yeah.
of sit there while the girl was
Yeah.
reenacting her fantasies on him. But
Yeah.
that's not like there's that, like I said, morally ambiguous. That's not necessarily entirely his fault. I'd say it's more her fault.
Well, he placed himself in the
Yeah, he
situation.
did.
He
He did.
should not have
I
been
don't
there.
want to go that far.
All right.
But do you have anything else to say about it?
No, I don't. Again, if you have any comments or suggestions to put it in the comment box. Let us know what you thought of Dream Scenario.
Well,
we would love to know your
it
take.
kind of plays up the cartoonishness at the end again, I guess. Whenever they have like this product where you can put yourself in other people's dreams. I didn't find that as funny as some of the earlier stuff, but the fact that it was real life TikTokers in a content house, like there was Josh Richards, he's a famous TikToker. Just seeing them in this movie, that was funny. But yeah.
All right, move along.
Okay.
Next,
I guess we just have one more movie. I guess we can talk about. We'll talk about Night Swim first. But now that I've seen it, we can discuss a little more of Good Grief, right?
Oh yes, because I saw it the week before,
You saw it
and
earlier,
you
and
hadn't.
I just saw it this past week.
Yeah. So let's tackle Night Swim, which was hated by the community.
It has a 1.8 on Letterboxd. Let me see what it has on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes just to see the.
Let's be clear: we hadn't gone to see it because the ratings were so low. Right?
4.7 on IMDb, 22% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
People were touting it as like the worst movie of the year.
It was like the worst horror movie ever made, you know. And I disagree.
It was like, to be fair, it wasn't like anything special. I have it as a 2.5 star. So do you. I guess we're on the same wavelength.
On the same wavelength today.
It's just like a super average Blumhouse movie. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was not overly bad either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Super average.
It was not
Blumhouse
overly
movie,
good, but it was not overly bad and
mediocre.
It was effective at, doing. I jumped a few times.
I don't understand where the hate is coming from. I don't understand even what is offensively bad enough to consider this movie as one of the worst movies of the year.
Yeah.
Like Lift is so incredibly dull that I wouldn't recommend watching it. Origin has such like convoluted messaging and such a messy story that and it goes on for way too long. It overstays its welcome. Wouldn't recommend watching it. If you're bored and want to have fun with your family or your friends or whoever else, Night Swim's a generic horror movie that's going to get the job done. Nothing special, but
it's not original. Like, it's not a story that like super original. It's the typical haunted.
I guess we should go into the plot a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me read the premise here. Forced into early retirement by a degenerative illness, former baseball player Ray Waller moves into a new house with his wife and 2 children. He hopes that the backyard swimming pool will be fun for the kids and provide physical therapy for himself. However, a dark secret from the home's past soon unleashes a malevolent force of things that drags the family into the depths of inescapable terror. That is a very wordy synopsis, but it's the pool. The pool is evil.
It's not the first time that houses are haunted or something in the house is haunted. We've seen Poltergeist. We've seen like they're all movies that have some sort of, thing attached to it that is haunted, like the closet in Poltergeist, like it's just eating people up. Like, and the pool too, by the way. Like the pool in Poltergeist is kind of full of skeletons and stuff. But so it's nothing new. It's been done and redone and redone. But again, like it was entertaining. I enjoyed my Friday night or Saturday night.
I do want to say one thing I found really good about the movie, as I told you and Trinity after we watched it. I feel like we never see someone as a celebrity, in this case, a pro athlete, just kind of living their life. That's something that doesn't define the character, but it is an aspect of the character. So the lead character in this movie is a professional baseball player who went through an injury. And the movie is kind of related to him rehabbing his injury, but it doesn't define the plot. It does to a certain extent, but it's just there, and I really enjoyed that. It was something original.
Yeah, because the pool makes him better, right? So it's just like possession again. Anyways, yeah, it's I'm not mad to have paid to see it in theaters. Not mad at all. So
Yeah.
Compared to Origin, which I was like, oh my god, that's time I'm never getting back. And money that I'm never getting back.
So, I guess nothing else on Night Swim. We can talk about Past Lives now.
Mhm.
Or no, why did I say Past Lives? Good Grief.
Good.
Yeah, not Past Lives. Good Grief. Good Grief is, I guess it was technically released in 2023, but it came out to the public in 2024, so it's on my list. It's currently sitting at number 1 on my list. That's the best movie of the almost 10 I've seen this year, and it's a 7 out of 10. So that probably says something about the quality of movies this year. But I really liked it.
What did I have it at? Letterboxd.
Also a 7 out of 10.
A 7. Wow,
Yeah.
we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we really are.
Jeez. So what did you think? Like I've already seen it, and I've already talked about it. So you go ahead and.
I really like Dan Levy's performance and the other major performances here. It's a simple plot just about life and grieving. It doesn't say anything super complex or like super groundbreaking about it, which is why it's not an amazing movie, but I can feel the artsy, like the passion that went into it. It's just a super nice, sad, but kind of touching to the heart movie that is deserving of the attention it's gotten. It's been like I've seen a lot of people talk about it. Nothing crazy, but a good movie.
It is. It's like you said, it's just I want to say coming of age. It's not coming of age because coming of age is more like a teenage drama, but it's like it's a guy coping with the loss of his loved one and then realizing that his life was not all that he thought it was, and I'm sure that happens to a lot of us when somebody passes away and you make discoveries, because everybody has secrets. And I think that's probably what this says, that
but
everybody
I
has
like the
secrets
commentary
and-
that it doesn't necessarily define his deceased husband, because the minor spoiler, I guess, the person who the husband was having an affair with even told him, the main character Mark, he told him he loved you so much. He loved you more than anything. Like, it was a mistake. It was a complicated situation, but that doesn't define him. And you shouldn't beat yourself up while you're grieving the loss of someone because their life wasn't what you thought it was.
Yeah. It's just it's not a feel good movie. It's actually a very sad movie.
Yeah.
But Dan Levy, love him. I just love this actor.
I didn't even know he directed it.
Yeah. I've followed him in Schitt's Creek and just loved him in that. and like I'm
Canadian
glad to
legend.
see. Yes, yes, Canadian. So it's pretty awesome.
Okay. On to the next, I guess. I'm gonna have you know nothing about this movie, so I think I'm just gonna go on a huge rant here, and you can sit like the viewers and just watch.
Okay.
I watched a 2024 DreamWorks movie, DreamWorks Animation Studios movie. That is finally it's getting attention now. When I watched it, there was like no reviews on Letterboxd. It was really early after the release. But the movie is called Orion and the Dark. The premise of this movie is a boy with an active imagination faces his fears on an unforgettable journey through the night with his new friend, a giant smiling creature named Dark. So basically, the premise of the movie is this kid is super scared of everything, especially the dark. And then he like rides through the night with Dark to overcome that fear. And it's a cute movie. But
Oh,
I am so mad at this movie.
why?
Never in my life have I related more to the first 5-10 minutes of a movie. It shows rather than his fear of the dark, it shows this kid who has severe social anxiety. He's scared to talk to a girl. He's scared of everything regarding anything that has to do with his social life. He has terrible social anxiety. That resonated so heavily with how I felt at times as a young kid. I think that could have been such a good message for so many young teens and younger kids aged 8 to 13 who deal with similar things. And then it never brings any of that social anxiety stuff up again, rather just him overcoming his fear of the dark. It's a cute concept, but
It could have been much,
it,
much better.
the I was so ready to give this movie like a 4.5 or 5 stars at the first 10 minutes. It elicited such an emotional relating. I related so heavily to it in
Yeah.
those first 10 minutes. And then it just becomes like an average animated movie for the rest of it. It is so the premise of it is he I don't even know if any of this ever happened because it's him telling a story to his daughter so she can get over her fear of the dark. We find that
Okay.
out later. And then like it's the daughter is telling it to the grandson and like it gets really confusing.
Okay, so it's like a generational story kind of thing.
Yeah. I gave it a 7 after I first watched it, a 3.5 out of 5. I sat on it for about 2 hours and I was like, this movie made me so mad. And I went back and gave it a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
The first 10 minutes were amazing. I really like there's a really good score, good sound design, good music, great animation. It's like a mix of 3D animation and like children's doodles. Really unique, but it made me so mad, the plot of it. And that's all I
Oh.
have to say about it. If you're watching and you have kids, it's an okay movie. You could show it to them. But if you have kids who have social anxiety, you could have got a movie that would help them go through that. And instead, you get a movie about someone's fear of the dark. So I guess if you have kids who are scared of the dark, they're going to lose
That's a
that
good
fear
movie,
in 2 years, anyways. But show them the movie now.
yeah.
Social
All
anxiety
right.
isn't something that people go through for a long time, that I'm still battling with after 10 years. So, yeah, who cares about that? Let's make the movie about the dark.
You're sure the dark was not like a um
I
symbol?
mean, maybe not. It doesn't make itself very known that it's a symbol if it is.
Yeah. All right.
But
Well,
you have a movie to talk about too.
I do. I've watched a Netflix movie. I think it was on Netflix or was it on Amazon? I can't remember now. It's either or. Anyways, it's upgraded. It came out last week. It's a 2024 movie and it's a comedy rom-com. Um very light, like just a good little movie to watch when you're bored and have nothing to do. The premise is it says here aspiring art intern Anna is invited on a last minute work trip to London by her brilliant but intimidating super boss. meeting the handsome and wealthy William on the plane. Set in both London and New York, the rom-com chronicles the trials and tribulations of balancing work, romance, and following your dreams. But she impersonates her boss, basically, and she gets into a heap of trouble because she got upgraded in the airplane and ended up in the first class, where she doesn't belong because she's just an intern and just started with the company. But she says that she's like she meets this cool guy and she tells him she's the owner of the company. And anyways, just a cute little movie. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I might watch it. It's
Yeah, it's
I mean,
cute.
it's
It's
number
cute.
4 on popular films this week on Letterboxd, so a lot
Yeah,
of people are watching it.
yeah, it's cute. It was cute. All right.
So I'm about to spoil our minds of having neutral opinions about 2 movies. I'm about to look up the score for the Bob Marley movie and Madam Web, 2 movies that came out on February 14th. So we're about to know what the public reception of these movies is. If I go to the Bob Marley movie and I see 2 out of 5 average, I'm going to be very upset.
Oh, you're gonna do that? Isn't it coming out like tomorrow though?
No, they came out on Valentine's Day.
Oh, they did? Interesting.
What's the Bob Marley movie? Bob Marley, One Love.
One Love.
3.1 out of 5.
Okay.
Holy shit.
What?
The top
What does it
review.
say?
The top review. One love, one heart, one destiny, 1 star. Oh man.
Oh no.
That's the
That's
top
not good.
review. But I mean, the other reviews are giving it like 3 stars, 2.5,
Yikes.
3.5, 3. Okay, well.
Okay, Madam Web, I am predicting like a low
Oh
score.
yeah, let's guess. Let's guess.
Okay, Madam Web, I'm gonna guess a 2.1.
I'm not guessing the same range as this one, honestly. But I'll go a little lower. I'll go 2.9.
Okay.
Madam Web is lower than what you guessed.
Oh. Well, I'm not surprised. Like the previews didn't really.
1.9.
Oh wow.
For reference, Night Swim was a 1.8, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's what you said.
But hey, we liked Night Swim, so I guess this means.
Yeah, but Madam Web, I don't know. Like the previews didn't do it for me at all. At all.
Well, I was actually kind of excited for it, so
Were you?
yeah.
What were you excited about? Did you like the actors, or is
Just that
like
it's a Marvel movie and it has to do with the Spider-Man IP, but oh man.
Maybe we'll wait for that one to come out on
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
home release.
I have a feeling the same thing that happened with Night Swim is not going to happen here.
I agree. I think you're going to see that score go down as the weeks go up.
Oh man. You know, we're going to watch Bob Marley, One Love. 3.1. That's definitely passable.
Do you think we can watch that in Panama? Like, I wonder if they I'm gonna have to look for a theater in Panama City on Tuesday when we're there. Maybe they have cheapo Tuesdays.
Oh, one of the reviews for the Bob Marley one was, when you see something like this, you realize what a miracle Maestro was.
Oh
and
my God.
I know you liked Maestro, but I'm sure that reviewer did not, and I don't. But okay, these are just random people's opinions. I've seen movies that are consensus 3 stars that I've loved before, so
it's you know, opinions are so personal anyways. Like, you know, you never know.
Wait, did Lisa Frankenstein come out? It did, right? A while
Yes,
ago.
I wanted to go and see it on Friday. That's I was showing the trailer to Trinity because it's kind of like a it looks like kind of like an Edward Scissorhands kind of movie. So I kind of wanted to go see
Hey,
it.
this one has a 3.4, which is getting into good territory. And
Oh wow.
I mean, the trajectory is there's a good amount of reviews that give it like 2.5, 2, but it just keeps trending up until 4, and then there's still a good amount of 4.5, and then 5-star reviews. So
not bad. Maybe maybe we can go see that one too. We're gonna have some catching up to do when we come back.
The main male lead has no lines.
He no,
Oh,
he's
the
like
creature.
he's
Because the second top
he's
review
dead.
the second top review is normalized leading men having no lines. What are some movies that would just change entirely if the lead male role had no lines? I feel like most movies by a lot.
Yeah.
Imagine Poor Things.
Without
If
Mark,
the only
Mark
person who
Ruffalo
was
not saying
talking
anything.
was the Frankenstein creature. Past Lives was kind of like that. The husband was just watching. He wasn't saying anything while the other two
he wasn't talking much, right?
Yeah.
Maestro could have shut up. You wouldn't have been mad
No,
about that.
I wouldn't have, because I think the female lead carried the performance. So the Ironclaw would just be nothing because it's all brothers.
Yeah.
It would just be the very sad mom.
She wouldn't talk either because she'd be so sad.
Yeah.
So you'd have a silent movie there.
Well, is that it for this week?
I think that's it. I don't think I have anything more. Gonna look at my list, but I don't think I have anything else that I've watched this week. No.
Okay, well, I guess we're probably not going to see much this coming week.
No, so if we're not on next week, guys, we'll be on the week after, and then we'll have some catching up to do. So
I was thinking we do like an emergency episode on Saturday or Sunday after getting back if we didn't get to in Panama.
Well, when we come back on the Saturday, we'll have to watch a movie first.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We're not just gonna come keeping it real about our trip in Panama.
Our trip to Panama. Yeah. Unless you guys want to hear about that. We'll make a movie out of it. All right.
Well, hello, Dave, but we are sadly wrapping up now. So thank you for tuning in, but we're about to end this episode.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Then I guess it's goodbye. And
I have to say my outro. So goodbye, guys. Thank you for watching. We won't be seeing you next week, probably. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like. If you're watching on Facebook, thank you. I don't think there's anything you can do there. If you're watching on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that, just like, give us 5 stars. One day we're going to be atop the movie podcast leaderboards. So that starts with you guys today.
It does.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching. And we will see you next week, maybe, but probably the week after.
I got to learn to shut up. All right. Bye.
Bye.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse.